Okay, we're back. Seeing if I got any viewers. This thing gets weird. Okay. Telling followers to join your video. Yada yada. Just waiting. Technology. La la la. Dead air. Aha, there we go. Let's put you on this motherfucker. And a 1 and a 2 and a waiting for. Dude!
What's up?
Dude, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, dude. I'm fucking driving home like a fucking madman.
Yeah, I got your message. That's wild.
I made it home. Incredible time. You have no idea.
I think you're a little crooked. You may want to turn your phone or your camera off.
I'm trying my best here. I don't have one of those fancy pop sockets like the kids have nowadays. So
yeah, dude, I literally have the phone propped up on a bottle of Crystal Skull vodka.
Right. So I got my face mask underneath it. Okay. And then it's against the Kenny Omega action figure. So that's what I got going on right now. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, you may want to turn your phone a little bit because you're like facing like that way.
I am actually on an angle in general.
Okay, so you just want to do a Dutch tilt the whole way through. You want to go full on.
Also, my as you can tell, my kitchen is angled. See what I'm saying? So there's lots of angles that are throwing angles off. It's all in the loop. Yeah, you know.
Well, what's going on, dude? How you doing? Good evening.
I'm well, man. Fucking, living through quarantine life. A whole new world out there,
Right.
I got my head tattooed, so I have a shaved head currently, which is kind of fun,
Okay. Yeah, I have my head shaved too, but I don't have the beard.
Yeah,
we're like a before and after.
Yeah.
We're like a before and after. Like I had a nice full beard. I got attacked by a muskrat. I loved a dirty woman, and it fell out.
There you go. It's like meth, not even once. You know what I mean? Like one of those.
Yeah, man. So yeah, let's get down to it because I know we're gonna bullshit a lot about horror.
Yeah. I have a feeling that I'm really bad at maintaining any sort of time limit with interviews, especially when we're talking about stuff that's like not music. When it comes to music, you get like the same 5 questions. You're like, yeah, so I wrote a record. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
How was the writing process? I don't know. We wrote a record, I wrote some guitar parts and then other guys did things with it and then I yelled over it,
Right.
So when it comes to movies,
so you have strings,
It's like, what do you want me to tell you, man? I don't know. It took me a year and a half. You think I remember what happened in that? I mean, like, I don't know. I did some drugs and I got ready to record, But when it comes to, when it comes to talking about movies, comic books, wrestling, shit, it's gonna be bad news for you, man. I'm not shutting up. So.
Yeah, hey, I'm not going to shut up either. That's how this goes,
Exactly.
So let's get down to it because you told me your idea is going to be more of an autobiographical approach to your list of 6 horror films.
Right, and even then, I feel like I have to go about it autobiographically because there have been actually some very significant parts of my life that are due to horror films, which is odd to say.
Okay.
But what year were you born?
1984.
Okay, so I'm 83. So we're the same thing. Like, you know how this goes, where it's like kids of our age, like we grew up with R-rated movies turning into fucking cartoons.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, when was the last time you watched Ghostbusters? Like, did you not realize that there's like kind of like soft, like almost rapey tendencies from Bill Murray to Sigourney Weaver?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
that wouldn't slide today.
No, and not only that would it not slide in the film, but it certainly wouldn't make it into a fucking children's cartoon. So that being said, there's like definitely some shit, going back to being a little kid that I recall. That I think is a pretty good time to go over,
Okay. Let's do it.
All right. So like I said, going autobiographically about horror films, right? I have to start. I'm going to start
Are
kind of
you
also.
taking the high fidelity approach to this?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
because
also,
you're Chicago. I want the viewers to know you're hardcore Chicago.
I am hardcore.
And you're going to take the high fidelity John Cusack approach.
So check it out. Oddly enough, on that tip, I'll give you a little thing. I worked at a record store in high school that actually supplied that movie with a ton of the vinyl that wanted to play the film.
Cool.
If you notice, there's a Slits record. It's like a blue frame with 4 naked women on it. They wanted like 30 copies of that. So like, I actually spent a lot of my time in high school going through records at the store to pull for high fidelity. So yeah, I'm going to take the high fidelity approach. Also,
I love it.
There's also like, I feel like I don't want to talk about the same old bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, we could go about this as like my favorite horror films, which probably like so many people have the same ones. And it's like, that's not really that special. I mean, if people are going to tune in to listen to me talk about them, I'll give some personality with it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to start at the top, which oddly enough is the oldest film on my list, but it is the original Frankenstein with Boris Karloff. And the reason I bring this up is I, in kindergarten, had to write a who is your hero? And my hero was Boris Karloff, which is fucking bizarre. But, right? You know, I mean, like, my parents were very open with me. You know, they said I could watch anything I wanted as long as I understood what was real and what was fake. You know? So,
Pretty much same with me.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, like, I got to watch anything I wanted. So there was, you know, Boris Karloff was a thing. You know, I am going to turn this up so I can read people what they're saying. We'll do it proper.
Okay.
Ever hear The Exorcist? No, never have.
No.
So,
is that like Pilates?
I feel like I should throw this out there, dude. A lot of my friends, you know, my own internet persona kind of breeds a little bit of sarcasm. So there might be some people that are going to start trolling me on here. It's very possible, but it's fine. I bring it on, you know?
Hey, you know what? As long as people are tuning in, you know?
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, Frankenstein. Boris Karloff was a huge, I don't know why, maybe it was some weird obsession with the name. I have no idea. I can't even really explain it to you. But it was a huge part of me growing up. I was really into Boris Karloff. And I watched, like, you know, the Abbott and Costello ones. Dude, all of it, man. So, and Frankenstein was, like, my first monster love. You know what I mean? So, like, Frankenstein was huge. Like, I remember later on in life finding this, like, who's your hero in fucking kindergarten? And it was Boris Karloff. And I found that to be fucking hilarious, you know? Because what kid fucking says Boris Karloff in 1988? You know, it's fucking insane. So, should we keep going on Boris Karloff? No?
Yeah. Well, you know what? To go back, because the show's a lot about nostalgia. So I actually, very similar to that, I found an art project I did in maybe 4th grade, maybe 5th grade. What was like, if you could have a place that you can go to that would be your paradise. Mine was like a nonstop concert, and the drawing of the concert is White Zombie.
Oh,
like
awesome.
It's dead on White Zombie. Like,
yeah, that rules. You know, like those old. Also, you know, like I don't know how it was where you were, but in Chicago, like there was you know, there's Svengoolie. And there's Elvira, which is basically like Elvira. Elvira was like a national thing, but Svengoolie was the Chicago version of that too. So,
yeah,
like,
we had Chili Billy Cardilli. He kind of retired by the time I was young, but he's in Night of the Living Dead. He's in a lot of
because you're from Romero fuckingville, you know, like
that's Romeroville all over.
We had Svengoolie, and then we had son of Svengoolie, who wasn't his actual son, obviously, but was actually this local personality who actually went to the same high school as me too. So like, there's like just a lot of there's a lot of like lineage when it comes to this kind of horror stuff. And I grew up watching. I could watch, you know, like I didn't see like maybe like the 80s gore shit that like obviously wasn't even really possible to find. You know, and people don't realize that back then, like, you know, just because a movie came out in the 80s doesn't mean you were fucking finding it. You know?
Yeah, and, we had a little a video chain here called West Coast Video, which was funny because I
showed up later here, but like in the 90s, mid late 90s.
And their horror collection now is pretty much all the throwbacks on Shudder. So we were a little spoiled. You know, there was certain ones, like there were certain movies you could tell people rented them and never returned them, like Evil Dead 2. Like Evil Dead 2, I rented it once or twice, and then somebody rented it, and then it never
came back.
Yeah, because
I've done that to several.
$2 for it. So,
dude, listen, that's how it used to go back in the day. I mean, people don't also realize that like VHSs that weren't like the first Michael Keaton Batman. You know what I mean? Or something that was widely released when they went to VHS. Those videos were $150, $100. Like it was impossible. I recall trying to I could have a very a particular memory of trying to go and buy a copy of Happy Gilmore when it first came out.
Oh my God, VHS. Yeah.
And Blockbuster's like, yeah, we can order it for you. It's like $98. And it's like, are you
exactly
what? So you had to wait for those movies, you know, to filter through. And, you know, like there was also a lot of like, when it came to horror movies, especially the older ones, the 30s, 40s, 50s and stuff, those would come out on those like weird bootleg VHSs. Do you remember those?
Oh,
like it would be like, you know, some random fucking company would just put on a line of like these shitty copies. And like, you know, they were like $2-3 or whatever at like, you know, Walgreens or something like that. And I would get those because I would, you know, like my parents would allow me to spend that, you know, like, so yeah, like a lot of the Boris Karloff, a lot of the, you know, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney, especially was someone I really appreciated later on. I'm a big Lon Chaney fan. That stuff really did it for me, man. But I don't know, Frankenstein always was my man, you know?
I love Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Oh, dude, all those are so fun, man. I love all that stuff.
Right. Like, could you imagine
all the Bela Lugosi going farther and farther into drug abuse? Oh, great stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. It got really dark. Yeah.
Super dark.
You don't know if he was really acting or not. It was just like, maybe he did just wake up. Right.
Honestly, like, I think he was just high as fuck the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, more than likely. Especially in Dracula, where is it, Frankenstein meets Wolfman, which has like the funniest setup ever. It's like, okay, so you know, obviously he played like the town gypsy in the original Wolfman, and then it's like the Wolfman comes back to him and needs help. And he's like, well, I know this crazy doctor up in the hills, and it was Dr. Frankenstein. I'm like, that's like the worst advice. That is not good advice.
Not the last person you want to fucking meet is a doctor. I mean,
yeah. Hey, we got another guy for you. He's fucking even more batshit than I am. You go, he'll help you out.
Yeah,
things will turn out okay.
This will end well, for sure.
Yeah, this will end well.
Came to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a smooth segue here, actually. I kind of have like two for this next one because it also takes place in kindergarten. Once again, people wouldn't believe this really, but you know, when Nightmare on Elm Street came out, Freddy Krueger was kind of pop culture. He wasn't so much like something where it's like, oh no, like this is an adult thing. Like I recall buying my Halloween costume for kindergarten at Toys R Us, and it was a Freddy Krueger outfit, which I got sent home from school for wearing because I was scaring everybody because I had knives and fingers, you know. You know, some things never change, right? Yeah, so I mean, the first Nightmare was like, I don't know what it really did to me at the time, but I can look back and tell you that it is just, it's a masterpiece, man. Like everything really about it. It's just like, it's, first of all, there was never a better Freddy movie. Period.
No.
You know, like there wasn't like that gem later on that, you know, made up for some shoddy sequels. He's literally never been as scary, as serious again. Every other installment of the fucking franchise was him being cheesy as shit. Which I fucking love. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
you know?
Of course. Yeah.
But
they always called him the Henny Youngman of horror. Was always became his moniker later on.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And dude, like that movie, God, I still to this day I watch it. You know, the scene with Johnny Depp in the bed, it's disgusting and great, and everything about it's really clever. And you know, people don't talk about this as much, but there was like kind of like the first female hero. If you really think about it. You know what I mean? Like
and I think she was, if any of the sequels I really enjoyed the most as like say I don't want to do a Nightmare marathon, but I just want to watch a few, I'll watch 1, 3, and New Nightmare because of Nancy.
Right. Yeah. And
because
actually, I'll tell you what, New Nightmare is one that is something that I feel deserves more of a rewatch. I think 100%. Way
it's really fucking cool.
I fucking hated it when it came out. I saw it in theaters, and I remember being like, I mean, like, what year did that come out? Like 90,
maybe 94, 95?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So I was like, that cynical junior high kid that was like, fuck this movie, you know. But I went to see it, of course, you know, just to bitch about it, you know.
Right. I still do that, but
yeah, exactly. But no, looking back, I just watched that a couple years ago. That is a fucking fantastic installment. And once again, actually, you could almost say that I'm wrong and say that might be the only other time Freddy was wholly serious in a film. You know, like, I mean, he never didn't have that humor that we all associate with Freddy Krueger.
Right. And how good was Robert Englund in the scene where he's playing himself, having nightmares about Freddy, who is him? Yeah. And he is like, he's darker.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, absolutely. Like, you're having your own existential crisis. I think that whole movie is just Wes Craven's existential crisis.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, is that not the movie he did right before he did Scream?
Right. I
could be wrong, but there might be some weird thing in between, but I'm pretty positive it's right back and forth.
I think it was, because Scream was 96.
Right.
And me and my family, we still lived in my old house when that came. And then I remember when Scream came out was the summer of 96.
You're 100% 96.
The fall of 96.
Yeah, 100% on that. I'm trying to figure out when New Nightmare was. It's all mush up there, but that is definitely something I would go back and I might actually watch that tonight now.
It's fucking really good.
Yeah. So on that note, one more big hit from kindergarten. I'm still only in the early years.
You're still
of my
there.
Life.
Yeah.
It has to be Child's Play, the original.
Right.
First of all, set in Chicago, which I feel as though at the time, you know, there wasn't much really portrayed here, right? You know, there was like there was Child's Play, Blues Brothers obviously comes to mind, you know, but there wasn't much else that was like, oh, this is a Chicago film. I actually, I know I mentioned it to you. I do a podcast for Bloody Disgusting. I've been a recurring guest called Double Murder. There's a few episodes up on iTunes, I think, and whatever you use to check out your podcast. But we did we do basically our original and a remake. So we did the Child's Play remake.
I saw that last night. That's a really cool concept.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those things that makes you think a little bit too. And going back to watch the original Child's Play, you start realizing like that 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid is like he's on the L going to the ghetto alone, and everyone's just like, yeah, whatever, you know, no big deal. And that kind of almost makes you feel like Chicago was like that in the 80s. Right. It's like, you know, very much. But I also had there were these things called My Buddy dolls.
Yeah, I had a My Buddy too.
Okay, so I had a My Buddy that had red hair, and I made my mom make him an outfit that looked like Chucky. She sewed it up for me, and I carried around a Chucky doll in fucking kindergarten because I was the creepiest fucking kindergartner of all time. And once again, I got sent home several times for that. How I graduated kindergarten, now talking about this is mind-blowing, but here I am.
I barely got through, too.
I barely got through any of school. Like, I think I just talked my way through it somehow or another. But, Child's Play would definitely be up there for me. Like I said, as far as, like, myself, I can't really say that it's better or a great horror film, in all honesty. I think the practical effects on it should be, you know?
Yeah.
Dude.
They're pretty awesome, and there's Brad Dourif.
Right. Yes.
How can you go wrong with Brad Dourif?
Exactly.
One of the greatest actors.
Dude, still doing the role.
Right.
Right. You know, like, I think that's something to be said, you know, like how many people continue to do a role of something that's like, it's also just a voice. Right. You know, like how does that happen?
Right.
And I mean, I'll tell you this, I think Mark Hamill was a great choice in the remake.
Yeah, I thought he was great. I have a really like, I mean, it just came out, So I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times. The first time I saw it, I genuinely thought they took a smart approach and not trying to recreate the original.
100%. Yeah. Where I think
and the backstory was hysterical.
Yeah, no, that was the thing is I think they stumbled, man. I think they got cold feet. If they were like, this is a horror comedy,
right?
Like when you think back about who's in the fucking movie, we all should have known that. You know what I mean? Like, granted, like Aubrey Plaza is a creepy little weirdo who I love. Like, but let's face it, she's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, so we should have all recognized that there was going to be a comedic element to that film. And I think if they leaned into it, if they were like, yo, this is fucking self-aware and it's like a horror comedy, I think it could have gotten so much more love. I think that it just got swept right under the rug because everyone's like, oh, what the fuck? It's a comedy, you know? And it's like, dude, watch the original. It's about a killer fucking doll, man. You know what I mean?
And it is pretty witty, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the old lady, look at that ugly doll, and he goes, fuck you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Exactly. Yeah, that's really self-aware. You know, like, I thought the remake was great. I just think that they really should have fucking leaned into it as a comedy, and I think everyone would have been happier about it in general. You know? But yeah, the original, though, still, I still love it. Aside from that little kid's acting, which is fucking terrible.
Yeah. It wasn't that good. I mean, you know, he was so sweet in it, though. You're like, this poor fuck. Like, as a kid, I never liked movies with kids when I was a kid because I always felt I kind of like the Monster Squad more than the Goonies.
Well, that's besides the point. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel like that was my crowd more than the Goonies crowd. Like, I came from an area where nobody was fucking adventurous, where everybody wanted to smoke cigarettes in the alley and play hacky sack. You know what I mean?
So maybe there was a little more Monster Squad for you. Yeah, okay, I get it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I love
a different reality.
I oddly enough, I was going to put Monster Squad on here. Because, like, I saw that in theaters. It was only playing in one theater in the fucking hood. And my grandma took me and my sister to it. And I remember my mom coming home from work and being like, you took the kids where? Like, and it was simply because I was obsessed with fucking Universal Monsters as a kid. And so for years after, because you know that, I forgot what the company was that put it out. Was it Carolco or Orion?
Yeah, I think it was Carolco. I think it's Orion, maybe?
It's one of those two. And they basically folded shortly thereafter. So there was no video, like, it was really hard to find that fucking movie. Yeah. And for years, dude, that movie would play once a year on, like, either Sci-Fi or something, some cable channel that would have, like, you know, all October 24-hour horror movies.
Right.
And dude,
HBO would have it on every once in a while. I remember.
You know what? Parents were cheap. Didn't fuck with HBO. But it would be on once a year. And I swear to God, dude, my mom would be like, hey, the Monster Squad's going to be on. I'm going to tape it. I'm like, fuck yeah, Mom, let's do this.
Yeah.
And, dude, I'm not even shitting you. Like, maybe 5 times in a row, that movie was taped. And it came out with no audio. It came out with no video. It came out completely scrambled. I'm talking like this movie was fucking just like impossible for me to fucking see again.
Oh, man.
And then I was at a comic book convention and I bought an original VHS for like $150. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to own this. And then 1 month later, they announced that they were re-releasing it on DVD, and I wanted to burn the earth to the fucking ground. But nonetheless, I'm glad that it's got so much love. You know? Yeah, it happens. Man. Yeah.
We all drop hundreds of dollars at Comic-Cons and horror conventions.
Oh, it's the worst.
Quietly and never say anything. I'm more proud to talk about hundreds of dollars I've dropped at a strip club than hundreds of dollars I've dropped at a fucking horror convention.
Dude, and the funny thing is that I would drop less money at a strip club than I would at a horror or comic book collection, like a convention. That's just the fact. You know what I mean? Like, I have gone.
It all depends who's there. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was hammered at a comic convention maybe 10 years ago now, and I just gotten a really big credit card. And I almost put a down payment on an Amazing Spider-Man 1. That was like $6,000. I only had to put down 10%, and I had a year to pay it off. I was like, let's fucking do this. And my best friend was egging me on, and I was just drunk, and I was like, this is it. Why not? Let's fucking buy fucking Amazing Spider-Man #1. Like, I'm not a fucking pussy. Let's do this. And thankfully, my mother called me in the middle of the transaction and talked me off the ledge. She's a saint. She was a saint. So she saved me thousands of dollars.
Good, moms are like, you know what? Maybe you don't need it.
Yeah, maybe you don't need it. I think she was a little wrong. Still think I needed it, but regardless, I didn't do that. But yeah, I've spent an absurd amount of money on all this kind of shit. It's ridiculous.
Right.
But you understand. You're in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. Like there was one that was supposed to come it was supposed to come in April that I've been meaning to stop going to them because I'm at the point where I've met pretty much the horror icons I've wanted to meet, except for Robert Englund. And this one, Robert Englund was coming, Amanda Wyss, pretty much the whole Nightmare crew. And obviously all this shit happened, and it got delayed, but apparently whether it happens in December or next spring, if that happens, they still have them locked, because pretty much it's not like they're out doing other Comic-Cons.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
They got them locked. So once I meet Robert Englund and them, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
it'll be really difficult.
Is it the Days of the Dead one?
No, this one's just the Steel City Con.
Oh,
we don't get Days of the Dead because
that's pretty cool.
We get there's one at Monroeville Mall now called Weekends of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And it's it's the same people who are around all the time.
Right.
But the cool thing is when you see people come from all over to come to my mall. You know what I mean?
No, it's pretty rad. Yeah. I mean, like, we do the Days of the Dead here. I've actually gone to the last few specifically to meet wrestlers, oddly enough. Because had, like,
I've met some wrestlers.
Yeah, they've had Bret Hitman Hart was at one. Ric Flair was at the next one. It was like big names, It's like, and those two specifically are huge for me. So I was like, well, fuck. Like, if I don't meet Ric Flair before one of us dies, like, I did it wrong, So, and I've gone and like, it's pretty rad. You see like Pinhead and they had the close talker from Seinfeld, Judge Reinhold, right? Was that his name?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and he was doing like close talker photos with you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we met Elvira a couple years ago. That was pretty fun,
Sweet.
Like,
she's been in a couple of hours,
I would assume so, like, what else has Elvira got going on, Like,
nothing.
So, like, I mean, I've always wanted to meet someone like, they never have, like, big horror names that I want to meet. Robert Englund would be one that I would absolutely want to meet, and he never shows up at these, so it's kind of a bummer in that regard, And then, like, the other thing is, too, is that I don't know how it worked, like, it works with all of them, but particularly with Elvira and Bret Hart, I remember that they had like you could buy tickets to meet him and get an autograph and a picture, and it's like $150, something crazy. I'm like, man, that's steep. But then like, what they don't tell you is that they're all also sitting at their tables, and like you can get a selfie with them, which to me is cooler than like these weird studio shots that look like we're in fucking seniors in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
I've done the studio shot. They can be really awkward. Some of them turn out good. There's some actors, and I find it's usually the older ones who would rather be lit and posed than take a picture of them at the table. Like,
get me at my good side and stuff.
Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds. Well, Burt Reynolds said he was taking no table pictures until he started seeing the cash flow.
Oh, I'm sure. Wait, you met Burt Reynolds?
But I paid for the pro photo op because it's fucking
Burt Reynolds. Yeah. Fuck.
And then he died like a week later. I had the kiss of death when it came to cons for a little bit. Met Martin Landau, died a couple weeks later.
Jesus.
Met Burt Reynolds, died a few months later. And I mean, they were 1 foot in the grave, the other on a banana peel, anyways. But
100%. I wouldn't totally put it on you, but there's a thing there. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a thing there.
I had it with comics for a minute. I was supposed to see Carlin, he died. I was supposed to see Mitch Hedberg, he died. And I was like, what the fuck, Like, so I try to not go see comedians. Like
I saw all of them, and they all died.
Yeah. See, what the fuck? Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't kill off all my favorite comedians. It's terrible news.
But yeah, so what are we at? One, two. We're at what? Three?
I guess three. Yeah, yeah. So
and you started with Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Well,
this one's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, yeah, okay. Frankenstein, Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, right? So
right.
I'm going to go into like more of like kind of like later, like high school and stuff. So in high school, I felt like maybe this is just like the time frame. Maybe it was just like me being more dark or whatever. But obviously, I got very into this guy named Satan. Right. So, The Exorcist, obviously, is probably my favorite fucking horror film of all time. It's either that or Texas Chainsaw, which I'm not going to talk about Texas Chainsaw because someone else is going to. Someone's going to talk about The Exorcist.
Yeah, this is more about nostalgia than favorites. Because if it was favorites, we would all be talking about Linda Blair and Max von Sydow. And
we're talking about 5 movies. You're not going to get 6 movies out of people. It's going to be 5 movies. You know what I mean? Like so.
Right.
So on that note, though, like I did get into more extreme stuff, and this isn't necessarily extreme, but I found out about this movie called The Omen.
And, man, tremendous.
Man, that is still to this day fucking terrifies me. And
it's a creepy fucking movie.
And like, I mind you, I'm a staunch atheist, and I'm one of those atheists that's like, if I have to believe in the devil, then I have to believe in God, so I don't believe in either. And on that note, though, like the creepy shit that happened around those actors in that fucking movie. Man, what the fuck? Not much makes me question anything, but if there is something, that's one of them, so much weird shit. I remember seeing that movie, and it was just, to me, one of the most extreme things I'd ever seen, and it starts off with, it's all for you, Damien. As soon as that happened, I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
And the creepy, let's talk about that scene, because I always say, like, The Exorcist may be the best executed, but The Omen is kind of scarier. It has more meat to it as far as horror is concerned.
So how about this? Like, in the sense of this, everything that happens in The Omen isn't necessarily too far-fetched as far as, like, a guy loses his head by a sheet of glass, right? The thing falls off, goes through the you know what I'm saying? Like, all the stuff that happened to the characters in that movie aren't like, it's not like fucking, my daughter's possessed by fucking Satan and she's spitting fucking vomit and her head's turning around. Like, that is insane and it is terrifying. But
in the scene where the woman hangs herself, there's a moment where it gets silent and she's just dangling.
Dude.
Everybody's watching in kind of awe, and it's real quiet. And it's like, okay, so that's what's fucked up, because that's how it would go down. Everybody would react, and then everybody would stand there and watch like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, because you'd honestly be like completely in shock at what you're fucking looking at. And also, like, they always say that reality is stranger than fiction could ever be. Like, yeah, dude, like someone may be doing that at a child's birthday party that's not all mentally there. Very possible, very scary. And that to me, man, like, it was just really, it even gives me chills now. That movie is definitely something that I think they fucking really fucked up with the fucking reboot of it. That was fucking awful.
It wasn't good. And they had good actors too, but it just
hit way off.
We don't need to go there.
Yeah,
we don't even need to go there.
Yeah, it sucked. But yeah, man, and also I'll tell you this, I actually really enjoy all the sequels minus the TV made for TV number 4 with the girl.
Oh, the Sam Neill one, or no?
No, the Sam Neill one was 3. Yeah, that one was good. Yeah, no, and the second one where he's in like military school, I thought all 3 of those were fucking pretty fucking badass. I really enjoyed all of those. And like I said, like, I mean, even to this, like I said, I got my head tattooed the other day. I was actually joking around, being like, "Hey, man, can you put a 666 back there really quick?" Like while you're doing.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I might actually do this at work on Saturday. We'll see how it goes.
I thought about it, not even to be edgy, just to be a little cheeky, like, just in case you didn't notice, Right, 100%. That's for fun. Yeah.
It's definitely not edginess for me. It's more like, I really like the fucking Omen.
There you go.
It's like, I'm big on, I think tattoos should be fun, so that would be a real fun one for me.
Right, same with me.
Yeah. Actually, on the note of going to Comic-Cons and stuff, right? So this is something that I had heard about. So, mind you, in my teen years now we are at, but since I was a little kid, I actually had 2 magazine subscriptions. One was for the WWF magazine, and number 2
I had that.
was for Fangoria. And a movie that I read about in Fangoria, and once again, you go to Blockbuster, you even go to like the little independent video stores, you never see it. It almost felt like a fucking myth. Mind you, there was also a lot of stigma attached to it and a lot of misinformation, even.
Right.
Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, here's the thing. Cannibal Holocaust is like, it's one of those movies you kind of have to see it.
You absolutely.
Once you do, you're like, okay, I saw that. But it's so documentary, which was kind of brilliant.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's the first found footage, right?
Oh, yeah.
More or less,
Right.
Like, there was so much of a lore to it. Because, there wasn't fucking Google to fact check shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, like, I'm sitting there like, oh, yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. You ever see that? It was banned, blah, blah. And you read about it, it's like, no, it wasn't. Just no one wanted to fucking release it because no one's going to make any money off of it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So, or even like Battle Royale was another one that I realized that, which wasn't ever banned in America. The guy was completely racist against America. So, like, he didn't want it released here, but when there was so much lore built up with this, and like, you only saw like maybe 5 weird still images, and one of them was the impaled girl, and then you heard about like the monkey, what was it, like an armadillo they killed too, or something like that.
Yeah, they killed an armadillo. They kill a pig, but I think the people ate the pigs. So
100%, yeah, they did.
Okay, we're live again. We knew this was gonna go long. We're some Mediterranean motherfuckers. We talk. All right. All right, coming back in.
Yeah, I always go long, man. I'm telling you.
Did you hear what I said? We're Mediterranean motherfuckers.
Yeah, I totally agree.
We just talk, bro.
I did a podcast about the MCU that devolved into me hating on Zack Snyder for like an hour and a half. And the funny thing was that the two guys were like, wait, are we just not going to talk about MCU? We're just going to shit on Zack Snyder? Like, I'm in. And all we did was go through his entire fucking filmography. He's like, fuck this fucking guy. So, yeah, I'm bound to go long. I told you. He said it was only going to take an hour. I told you it wasn't going to.
No, we got this. Let's finish it off.
Yeah.
Let's finish it off. We started talking about this yesterday. We started talking about horror film scores. We started talking about Carpenter's music and the tour he did.
Yeah.
And then how that's kind of like a thing that's going on now is more bands who scored horror films are now touring with it, or composers are touring with.
Shit that I've wanted my entire life.
Right.
Like I remember getting that Goblin soundtrack for Dawn of the Dead, like in high school at that record store that I worked at, and being like, yo, what the fuck? Why isn't this? I want to go see these guys. Like, fuck going to see Taproot. You know what I mean? Like, or like, I don't want to go see fucking Cold Chamber again. Like the 90s are weird.
Yeah, the 90s are weird. Yeah.
Have you seen Goblin? Eric is asking. It was when he realizes that, or when she's heading to the beach and you kind of realize that she's scared to go back because she's the clone. That's what he was talking about.
She knows shit's about to get real. She has that look on her face like, shit, I done fucked up.
That fight at the end with that 5, I got 5 on it. Oh, man.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Gets me pumped, man. Like, I want to fight somebody to that song so bad. If anybody's interested, come find me.
But yeah, Goblin. Have you got to see them live?
I haven't.
I saw them, I'd like to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Damn,
before
they
kind
that
of
long
like
that they've been doing this again?
Yeah, I think it was the first time they came back where they did a retrospective, because I know they didn't disband, but they kind of separated.
Yeah, there was.
I don't remember
like
all their names. But,
was there a double Goblin at one point?
Yeah,
like fucking Queensryche, right? There was like 2 goblins going on? Yeah, right.
Yeah, there was 2 goblins going on, and one was, Fellatio's goblin and, somebody else's goblin or whatever.
I wanted to see it so bad. I fell victim to being a touring musician myself, unfortunately. There's been very few stuff that I've really missed, but that was one.
It's okay to miss things when you're doing good things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, questionably good things. I've done tours with Knockmistium.
Yeah.
So, it's not always good. But I've played with Pentagram, dude. Okay, not everything is good.
Yeah.
So I missed that. I did see Carpenter. I think he's been here 3 times or 2 times. And I've seen him all those times. One was there was an open air fest here, and it was. I only stayed for the second stage. It was one of those ones where they do the entire second stage and then they move to the main stage, and it was. Gojira was there, which is why we went to go hi to them. And it was Gojira, Death Heaven, Carcass, and Meshuggah, maybe, I think. I forget. Wow. But I mean, we're friends with the Death Heaven dudes. We're friends with Gojira, obviously. So we went to go see them. And then I had list spot for fucking Carpenter. This was out in the burbs. Southside had Carpenter, and I fucking flew down to fucking catch Carpenter. Funny story. I knew I was gonna miss the set or miss. It was about to start, and I was like, "Fuck it." This venue has valet parking. A valet parked my car, ran in. I missed the first song, which was "Escape from New York," which is my favorite fucking Carpenter motherfucker. Missed that.
Oh yeah.
And then Death Heaven and Carcass were playing at Metro, which is on the north side of the city. So I wanted to go hang out with the dudes in Death Heaven more, and I was like, okay. So Carpenter finished up. I fucking ran out right away, jumped in this long ass line for the valet, and you're a metal dude, I'm a metal dude. You go to non-metal shows, you forget that there are people that aren't into metal. Right. When you always go to metal shows, you're like, oh, that's right. There's people that don't even know who the fuck, Neurosis is.
Right.
So I was standing there in line, and it's literally me and a bunch of non-metal people for sure. And I'm trying somehow or another, this is maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So in my 30s, I'm sitting here acting like I'm a fucking 20-year-old trying to make 3 shows in a night. And I'm like, I got to get up there. I got a 20-minute drive. There's a long ass line, and I was next in line for valet. Maybe there was one guy in front of me, and of all people, Charlie Benante from Anthrax and his girlfriend or wife. He lives here.
Okay.
He lives out in the burbs, but he's a frequent. You see him around at shows.
Yeah.
But he comes up, and you can see him scanning the line. You know what I mean? And he locks eyes with me, and I'm sure he's like, this fucking guy knows who I am. He's right. He walks up to me and goes, hey, man, you know who I am? Do you mind if I cut in line real quick? I get home, and I was just like, fuck no. Back to the bus, fool.
Charlie.
I don't give a shit. You're number 4 of the big 4, You're not James Hetfield, all right? James Hetfield, you know what he can wait to? He's got money. I don't, all right? Kerry King comes up to me, he can have it because he's kind of scary. I'm intimidated by Kerry King, but
really,
anybody else, fuck him. I'd let Kirk in front of me. He seems like a nice guy. Yeah, he's a surfer, vegetarian, harmless. Probably scared of the South side.
He's the. I think I told you this years ago about how I view Metallica as 4 uncles. Well, technically 6 if you count the other 2 basses, but more of the Newstead era.
Let's not drag fucking Burton into this. He has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it.
No, he's not an uncle.
No.
But yeah, they're kind of like uncles, and Kirk is the sensitive uncle who really is concerned about your life and what you're doing with yourself.
Yeah, he's the one that
you might
doesn't
get
come up
crappy
to you.
gift, but
he would be the guy that doesn't come up to you. I always joke about this, especially being in a band when I go to any family functions where I got that one guy's hey, you know what you need to do? You need to get on one of those late night shows. It's I'm not trying to do that. You don't just call up Letterman and fucking book a date, you dickhead. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Kirk Hammett, I feel would be one of those guys yeah, man, I saw Santana in the 60s, you got to look at him you totally did acid, you were cool and you still would be cool, but your pullout game is trash, and now here you are. You know, that's basically how I look at him. You know, like, he's the only member of Metallica I've never met, and I've been dying to meet him. He's always been my favorite.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met any of those guys, but, you know.
I had a real weird moment with Hetfield when we were on tour with Gojira. He was at our San Francisco show. And there's this guy, his name is Brian Liu, really awesome dude. He wrote a book called Murder in the Front Row.
Okay, yeah. And I saw the documentary they did of that book recently.
The dude rules, man. He's such a cool guy. And he's been, the shit he's been next to, not even like near, but literally a part of, in like a background role. You know, like incredible. And he hit up our A&R guy, our current A&R guy. And he was like, hey, you know, I really like this Atlas Moth band. I really want to go see the Gojira show with them. Can you put him? He's like, yeah, he wants to know. He said like if you put him on the list, Hetfield's coming and he'll personally introduce you. And I was just like, this guy like want a hand job? Wow. Like let's do this. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, and yeah, I had a moment with Hetfield. He introduced me to him. It was kind of cool because I was introduced, you know, he was at my show and it was introduced through a guy that like he saw this Brian Liu guy whose nickname is Umlaut, and he's like Umlaut, and he like open arms, like walked over to give him a hug, you know, like it was, you know, and then like I'm standing next to him like, oh shit, you know, like I talked to him for a minute, and I sat there and like, dude, like I mean that band is Metallica. I can defend Load. I won't even get into that. That band is huge for me. You know, I love Metallica. I'm a total fucking nerd, and the only thing I think of was like, what the fuck do I say to this fucking guy? You know what I mean? Like it's like meeting Bono or something. It's like meeting Mick Jagger. Right. It's like, well, hey, Master of Puppets changed my life. Yeah, like this guy doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, right. You know what I mean? Like I got nothing to say to him other than like thanks, maybe. You know, like and it was one of those things that you talking to him though. It was like also like this isn't like when we've met guys, you know, like we're buddies with the guys from Neurosis, who's on the band I looked up to too, and I talked to them. And you get a camaraderie vibe because they're still dudes. They're still grinding, and they're not this untouchable rock and roll band. That's like literally maybe the last big rock and roll band, you know. And then Metallica's maybe it, you know, and definitely maybe the last big metal band ever. And like, dude, like you can't. This guy's rich. This guy, regardless of like him coming from, he doesn't remember what it's like to be me opening.
Right.
Because it's been 30 years. And the last time we did it was opening for Ozzy in the 80s. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here.
And they
you know?
killed it.
Yeah, you know, and they blew him off stage, you know? Like, so it's like, you know, but it was still again one of those things where it's like, God, man, this guy, holy shit. You know, like, I definitely called, like, my parents was like, you know, like, say what happened? It's crazy, you know? Like, but yeah, it was like, Kirk Hammett is still my white whale. I gotta find him. Yeah.
I had that same thing. Like it was around Christmas time a few years ago, and Slayer was announcing their first leg of their, you know, final tour, and they were like, they're doing a meet and greet. Yeah. Final
just
tour.
Like Ozzy.
Right. But they were offering a meet and greet, and I was like, you know, I've never met Slayer, and I don't feel like and I've been seeing their shows for over 20 years, and it's like I don't feel I've ever been close to Slayer to meet Slayer. So I was like, well, fuck it, it's Christmas, I got a bonus, I'm gonna go in on it, and then, you know, go to the show. Wait in line, waiting for the meet and greet. Everybody's like real timid and like real timid going in, real timid going out. It's like a creepy meet and greet. Like to me, I feel like it felt like a Comic-Con going to meet like, I don't know, like Anthony Daniels or something. Like, dude, you're going to meet Slayer. Like, show some personality. It's fucking Slayer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And I had no idea what I was going to say until like they bring you into this like photo booth where you just take a picture with them and bullshit for a little bit. And I just like kind of like walked around the curtain and I just saw 4 dudes standing there. And I'm like, what's up, gentlemen? How you doing? Like, introduce myself, shake hands. Tom Araya goes, Super Mario. And I'm like, I hate when people say that to me, but I'll take it from you.
Yeah. I mean, if someone's going to call you Super Mario, it might as well be Tom Araya. You know,
yeah, like, I fucking hate that shit, but Tom Araya did it, and I was like, Tom, I will take that from you. And they were just, they laughed. And you know, I said, hey, guys, it's been a blast. I obviously grew up around your music, whatever, but it's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, yeah.
Have a good show, have a good tour, have a good one. Take care.
What do you got to say? I've kind of felt that way later on in my life where I'm like, what do I have to say to anybody really? Sometimes like it's just like, hey man, thanks. That's all.
Yeah,
I don't want to bother you, man.
Yeah.
It's cool. I've been a fan of you forever, and it's awesome to meet you. I mean, with music, with musicians too, especially, I like to meet dudes on a different. I've tried to meet them on a different level. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be taken as the mark, if you will.
Right.
But sometimes I've even with music guys, it's like, dude, I'm never gonna find I had literally the most common ground I could possibly find in that Hetfield encounter, and even then, it was like,
yeah, it's
you know what I mean? Like it was like a throwaway almost. It's like, so you don't need to meet everybody,
right?
But Kirk Hammett would probably be cool.
Yeah, I'd say the best way to go about it, the way I always go about it, especially later in life, is just introducing yourself and ask them how they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Like, hey man, nice to meet you. I'm Mario. How you doing tonight? And that's all. I mean,
yeah. I actually a couple of years ago I took a flight to LA for a Scion event.
Okay.
God bless Scion. They treated all these doom and stoner acts like we were fucking Led Zeppelin for a couple of years. It was awesome. But I flew out to LA and I was boarding my plane, and I don't even think the plane was big enough for first class, probably business class. I locked eyes with Michael Ian Black.
Oh wow!
And I was like, "Whoa,
yeah."
You know what I'm sitting there like, I'm carrying my backpack, and I just did a double take, and he looked like a deer in headlights. He was just like, fuck, someone recognized me on this flight, and I was almost like gonna say something, but obviously, I'm boarding a plane, there's people behind me, and I didn't think about it. I'm like,
there's time and a place.
Yeah, an airplane sucks. And then we were standing maybe 10 people away from each other at baggage claim, and I grabbed my bag. And he grabbed his bag, and we were converging. We were walking separate directions. And as we walked by, he saw me. He knew it, and he knew that I knew who. And I just looked at him, and I was like, so I just put my hand up, and I was like, "Yo, wet hot American summer." We gave each other a high five, and that was it. And I was like, I bet that guy was stoked. That was it. That was it.
That's all you need.
Yeah, you don't need to fucking make a big ordeal out of it, And
people are so strange.
Sometimes I think people overthink it too. It's like, what would I say to him if I met him? It's like, say hi.
Have you ever had any fans that were fucking goofy?
Not that I can really say, man. I think everyone, I think that's the thing. I think you kind of brought it up earlier with doing T-shirt designs. I think that anyone that likes my band is pretty. I think that we're a band that, if you like us, you kind of are probably sick of a lot of dumb metal shit. You know what I mean? So you probably hear us this is refreshing because it's different, And so I think that a lot of I met you as a fan, I've forged plenty of friendships with fans. It's common. It's like we find a common ground, and also I like to fucking I'm not special, man. You know me for what I've done, but talk to me,
Exactly.
I totally fucking am going home from tour and playing with my dogs and reading comic books and watching horror movies. What are you doing? You got a good one? Hook a brother up, man. So I've always gone that kind of route. I can't actually recall. I'll tell you what, there's definitely, I can't necessarily particularly think of one off the top of my head, but we've toured with bands that have had some fucking, some questionable ones, oh yeah. There's definitely been some whoa, what the fuck's going on here? Actually, it's kind of funny. When we toured with Helmet, they wanted us to do. They wanted all the bands on the tour. That tour was Helmet, Crowbar, Vitus, Kylesa, Red Thing. Before they were this was before that second record came out, so they were not a big thing yet.
Right.
And Howl and us, and we were the kids on the tour. It was it was on our first record. We were playing first of 7 or whatever, and they were yeah, you guys have to be here every day for a fucking meet and greet. And I was like, meet and greet? I'm going to be standing out front smoking cigarettes. They can come and fucking meet me. They don't have to fucking pay to meet me. Like, fuck that. You know, like, I don't want to fucking think of, I would never want to do that to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, come pay to meet me. Like, fuck that. Like, come find me. Usually at our merch booth.
I got a funny fan meet and greet story. I won't say who it is, but I'm good. I've been good friends with them. Kind of the same way I became friends with you. See the shows, talking bullshit, connect online, laugh, whatever. You just become friends. You're into the same shit, whatever. But anyways, I don't want to digress too much, but he was playing a show here in Pittsburgh. It was a pretty big show. I think they were headlining that night. And we're just walking across the street. I'm taking him and a couple guys on his crew. They were looking for a place to get like a burger and a couple beers. And I'm like, okay, I know a little spot, but we'll cut around back so that, you know, guy sticks out like a sore thumb. Right. I don't want him walking down the main street where, you know, the doors for his show opens in 2 hours.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So we'd go around the cut, walk around the river, and then we'll enter through the back, like not the back, but the side entrance. So we're crossing the street, and this dude shows up, and, you know, he wants to get a picture with him, and he says, hey, can I get a picture with you? And we're crossing the street, and he goes, yeah, sure. But he keeps walking because, well, we're crossing the street. You don't just stop in the middle of the street. And the guy stops again in the middle of the street and says, you're not going to take a picture with me? And he goes, dude, I'm crossing the street. Like, finish crossing the street. Okay? Yeah. He crossed the street, and he, you know, introduced himself. He's cool, real cool with him, real polite, real funny. Then he takes a picture with the kid, and the kid goes, awesome, man. I actually have meet and greet passes, so I'll see you in like an hour.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
That's incredible.
What the fuck was that? He just blew it off because he was just like, whatever, you know. He knew he did a good deed, but at the same time, and I just looked at him. I'm like, man, that's just so fucking. That's bizarre.
So you know what? You just reminded me of something. Talk about a weird one. This is in London, Ontario. It's a college town. We played there a couple times. There's like, I feel like there's like one venue there that everybody plays, but they played the same venue. It was at the Ocean. I'm pretty positive. Pretty positive it was at the Ocean, or we played there with Russian Circles. It was one of those two shows. 90% sure it was the Ocean. We show up, and there's a dude standing out back, like where we're supposed to pull in, load in. Clearly, he knows the fucking score. And he's standing out there with like a folder. And we pull up, and we're like, he doesn't really look like a metal guy. You know what I mean? Like, like, what does a metal guy look like? Everyone, it's a pretty diverse scene nowadays. It's not like it was at one point, I think. Right. And we pull up, and he like comes up to us, and goes, "Hey, like, are you guys the Atlas Moth?" We're like, "Yeah, you know, cool." It's like, "Oh, awesome." And he's like, "Well, hey, would you like assign these promo photos for us, for me?" And I was like, like, that's like some old school shit, man. Like, I remember like being in a band, like, you know, whatever, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had to have like an 8x10 promo shot, you know? Like, but I was like, wait, we've never done those. You know what I mean? Like, we've obviously taken promo photos. We never had 8x10s, you know what I mean? I was kind of like, what's going on? And like, for a second there, I wanted to be like, hey, where the fuck you get these? You know, because like, I mean, I do keep a lot of stuff because, you know, fucking, you know, I want to be able to look back at shit. You know, I want to be able to have stuff. You know, but I was kind of, I wanted to ask him, and then I was like, whatever. You know, like, this is just odd. And like, you know, I'm like, yeah, you know, like we had to load in. You know, like, he goes, oh, well, I'll help you load in. And of course, it's like, fuck yeah, grab some of this heavy shit. My back's killing me. You know, like, so like, you know, he helps us.
How bad it, dude?
Yeah, and he hangs out in like the green room. This is like way before even sound check. We signed some shit, and I'm not, like I said, I'm pretty positive it was the Ocean. He had like several promo photos from us, and several promo photos from the Ocean. And I know that I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Ocean's lineup, but you know, it changes. Right. Like, you know, like, I changed my underwear.
With the Ocean at one of the shows here.
Yeah, there's like a lot of changes in that band, and like I think a couple of the guys were brand new on that tour we did with them, and they were like, "I'm not in this picture," and also they're Europeans, and stuff like, you know, they speak perfect English pretty much, but there's still like a little bit of like, how do I explain why I don't want to sign this picture of not me, you know? And this dude I'll never forget this. He's like, you guys want to see a magic trick? And I'm like,
oh shit.
I mean, I got nothing to do for hours. Like, fucking impressive. And he like did this thing where like I forgot what it was, but more or less like he fused 2 cards together. And we couldn't figure out how he did it. Like, he gave us the card to keep. We're like, how the fuck did I pull this card? And he fused it with another. Like, it was weird. But then, like, all of a sudden, he disappeared. You know, and, like, he wasn't at the show. And it was kind of like one of those things where I was like, I wonder if he, like, made promo photos to sell. Like, who the fuck is buying an autographed fucking Atlas Moth picture? Yeah, it's like, what the fuck's going on? What just happened? Like, did that guy actually think that there's an aftermarket?
We got a crew of kids who do that now. You know, it's I see them in almost like every little event. They actually fuck things up. A friend of mine worked at a venue that Tom Morello was playing, and I had a picture for my 7th grade yearbook where I was really young, really baby-faced, but I had a Rage Against the Machine t-shirt on. Sure. And I was like, dude, I want Tom Morello to autograph this picture. Right. And he was like, he probably would totally do that. So I went down to the venue a little early, and he was coming out after a sound check. I was talking to my friend who's working the stage crew and all that. We're just bullshitting, like, side of the venue. And these dudes were just standing there like, you know, you noticed something about them. Like, they were like, you felt like they were fans, but you also felt like, well, they kind of have a stack of shit.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
This doesn't look cool. So apparently, I didn't know this earlier, he had already signed stuff for them, but was pretty much like, he kind of knew the lowdown right away.
Sure.
And I think a lot of his autographs he sells for charities, which, you know, if you're trying to bootleg someone's autograph who's really selling autographs for charity and has no, you know, nothing invested in it, that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But he came out, we saw him come out the door, and like I was just kind of just moving over towards there. Like, I wasn't going to dash at the dude. I mean, he's a dude. I'm a dude. Whatever.
Right. That's really it. We're all dudes.
He saw them. He put his hoodie up and ran. They fucking ran after him. Jumped on. He got in like one of the runners' cars, and they were like jumping on the car. And like the one dude had like basketball shorts and flip flops on. They literally ran down the whole city street chasing the car, trying to get autographs.
That's like one of those things. Like, what's your end game? You know what I mean? Like,
what?
Do you think this guy's stoked about this now? You know, like, yeah. Now that you're fucking chasing him, now he's gonna be like, never mind. You guys are cool.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm like, you know, and like I always feel like an autograph is something I'd rather have. I get, you know what I mean? Like, right. Even then, it's always kind of like one of those things where it's got to be something that like I feel is worth getting signed, you know, or something that like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was a sentimental thing. It was like the 12-year-old me would want Tom Morello to autograph this picture.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Like,
you know,
I was thinking the other day about how awesome it would be to get a copy of the Judgment Night vinyl soundtrack.
Oh,
and have all the bands sign that. That'd be fucking incredible if you could pull. Right? Wouldn't it be sick? Like,
you could pull it off. I mean,
know, right? That'd be so amazing.
The hardest people to track down would be like, what was the Goody? Not the Goody Mob, but who was the group who did this song with Faith No More? Who kind of like came and went?
The Booyah Tribe.
The Booyah Tribe. That's
who even are those guys?
You'll get Mike Patton's autograph. You'll get all their autographs. But tracking down the Booyah Tribe.
He would be kind of tricky, you know, just in general.
He would do
it. I'm sure he would do it, but he's such a celebrity, though. You know, like
right.
You know, like
I think he would do it, especially if you ask him to personalize it. I find too like
my buds in Darkest Hour did that like Rockstar Mayhem tour with what's the band? Cop Killer. Body Count.
Oh, Body Count.
And he was saying that T and Coco were like the chillest, you know, like they were fucking awesome, you know, and it's like, man, that fucking rules. Like, I would love to.
Well, why wouldn't he be? You know?
Right? Yeah, he has no reason not to be. You know, I mean, he's fucking Ice-T. You know, like he's got a pretty good thing going. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, Mugs are weird. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
that's that life. You know?
That's the life, man. That's how it goes. Sometimes you got to sign some shit for some people to sell on eBay that no one's gonna buy.
Yeah, and
you
the one kid was
anytime you want. You know,
the one kid was like, dude, I could sell this for like $30. And then, well, this one the second time I saw them, that group of kids, it was at least better because it was a record release party. This was right before the shutdown here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
It was Friday, March 13th. Code Orange, who I've seen those kids since they were teenagers. You know, so the fact that they're doing, the fact that they're doing well for themselves is really cool because, like I said, when I first saw them play and open for bands, they were like 16, 17 years old.
Right.
You know, and they were so fucking crazy. And it was like, these kids, they look like kids. I mean, they're fucking crazy. So I went to their release thing, and those kids were, those same dudes, autograph dudes were there, but they were at least buying like 4 or 5 copies of the vinyl. They were buying, as long as you're buying shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. If you're going to buy some shit, like, how can I fucking deny it? You know what I mean?
They didn't give a... Yeah.
I assume
obviously, they didn't give a fuck. They'll sign whatever, but it was just kind of like...
I assume that dude in, like,
London...
I'm assuming that dude in London, like, worked at, like, a print shop. You know, and it's like, this is just bizarre. You know, like, you, like, look at this fucking venues fucking, like, line up for the month, and it's like, all right, well, better figure this out. You know, it's like, what the fuck? Like... I don't know. That's the only weird one that I can think of, though.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. The fact that he disappeared too.
Like,
I like that he had 8x10s.
Almost like his fucking his magic trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like he dropped a Batman smoke bomb and he was just gone. He was hanging out with us. He was like, we gave him a beer because we were like, well, I mean, I don't know, like whatever, like you know. And then he was just gone. You know, we were like, he wasn't at the show. What the fuck was that kid all about? Like, I almost wanted to be like, can you just tell me? So I know, you know, like, because, like, it's killing me years later, you know? It's like, what the fuck was that dude?
Did you secretly sell your soul to that guy that night?
Yo, I've sold it way
You did sign some shit, bro.
Right, yeah, seriously. Like, someone's going to come back and fucking sue me eventually one day because I said I was their dad now or something. It'd be terrible. Who fucking knows, man?
Oh, man. But you know what? Let's end it on that. I want to thank you so much for doing this.
Anytime, man. I had a pleasure. As always.
Really fun. I mean, we always bullshit. It's really fun to talk, but it's really fun having you to be a part of this. Like, I normally do I think I explained to you, my talk show is just a live talk show that's not streamed. It's not anything. It's in a cool metal coffee shop that, like I said, Nick Miller was one of the...
My only other Instagram live interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me. Yeah, man, anytime though. Next time I'm in Pittsburgh, we'll have to do it live.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, for sure. We'll do that. I'll take you to the mall. We'll give you the Dawn of the Dead tour.
I want to go to the cemetery.
Okay. That's about an hour away, but we could probably do that.
I'll work it out.
If he's around, like, I mean, if he's not, like, around live, but if he's around, like, hanging out, if there's a family function, I'll introduce you to my uncle who was in Night of the Living Dead.
I would love that. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker. He actually used to be in some of George Romero's commercials when he was a commercial director.
It's so random. I love that.
Wonder Bread. Yeah, he did the Wonder Bread.
So fucking weird. That's so random.
Yeah, it is weird. But hey, thank you so much, Stavros.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hope the best for you guys and your band. Tell everybody I said what's up.
I will do that, man.
Looking forward to whatever you guys are coming up with. This is an interesting time for musicians too.
Yeah, we'll have hopefully something will come out next year, but I don't want to put anything out that's too serious without it being able to play behind it. That's me.
I hear you.
So we're gonna put out something at the end of this year, though. So hey, Chris Paju, he might remember that guy because he was an awesome band called Traumahawk from London, Ontario. He may have played that fucking show with that weirdo that's fucking made me sign all those fucking promo photos. So I'll have to fucking ask him what the deal is when I get off the list with you. Odd that he just popped up. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon, though.
Hey, man, good night. You take care,
Absolutely.
all right?
Cheers, brother. You too.
Okay, bro. Later.